So in this video, I'll be going over different object modes and what you can use them to do. Welcome to this lesson. Let's just briefly go over object modes. Now, what are object modes? Object modes are different modes that let you interact with objects in a specific way. For instance, you have two major modes you'll be working with. You have the object mode, which is this mode, and then you have the edit mode. These are the two major modes you'll be interacting with. If you want to switch a mode, you just come over to this this rectangle and click on the object mode, and then a menu should come up, and then you can click on edit mode. So in object mode, you usually use selecting an entire object to rotate, scale, and move the object around. You're moving the entire object. Now we'll go into manipulation of objects a little bit later. So in object mode, you're usually selecting an entire geometry. For instance, if I select this camera, I'm selecting the entire camera. If I select this light, I'm selecting the entire light. If I select this cube, I'm selecting the entire cube. And in this mode, you're usually editing or moving the entire geometry. So to move on to the next mode, which is the most important mode, obviously aside from these two modes, there are different modes. There's sculpt, vertex paint, weight paint, texture paint. Now maybe to quickly just explain what these individual modes do. Sculpt mode gives you liberty and gives you room to organically shape something into what you want it to be. So weight paint is usually used for assigning influence of bones on characters. So that's a little bit advanced. We'll get into that some other time. And then texture paint literally just lets you paint textures directly onto 3D models. We'll get into that some other time as well. But just give you a brief summary of all of this. So yeah, that's just a brief of each object mode, or each mode rather. Like I said, these are just modes that are specified for different tasks, right? Sculpting, vertex paint, weight paint. If I should quickly put a tag on it, this for character, this for objects texturing, this is for manipulation of objects, this is for sculpting objects, this is for also manipulating of objects in finer detail. So about 80% of the time you'll be using these two modes, object and edit mode. Now to switch to object mode, or rather edit mode, just hold Control on your keyboard and tab. That will bring up a menu where you can switch into any mode. But if you want to simply switch to your edit mode, just press tab for PC. So if you notice, we have a couple of things in bright orange. Now let me just quickly explain this. In the edit mode, once you switch to the edit mode, you have three major modes in the edit mode, if that makes any sense, or three major selection modes in the edit mode. First, you have the vertex select, you have the edge select, and then the face select. So now what is the edge select, or rather what's the vertex select? Now to quickly explain what an edge is, or rather what a vertex is. A vertex basically connects to make an edge, right? So these are points that make an edge or make this horizontal line. They serve as the building blocks of a 3D model, and yeah, that's pretty much it. They're just these points that you select on an edge of a model. So yeah, that's basically what an edge is, or a vertex is. So now what is an edge? Now if you want to click, remember, if you want to switch your different modes, you just click on the vertex mode is this dot, the edge mode cube with the line, and the face is the cube with the square in front of it. So now an edge is basically a line that is connected by two vertices, to just put it that simple. Usually the edges, like it implies the edges of a 3D model. And yeah, a face, now for instance, the face is a flat surface connected by three or more edges. Now faces form visible surfaces that you can click on. As you can see, we're clicking on this entire face, as opposed to this edge mode. Or yeah, if we switch to edge mode, you'd see that a face is made by 1, 2, 3, 4 edges. And these selection modes will basically help you disfigure or edit your geometry in different ways. We're going to go into manipulating your 3D objects a little bit later with the transformation tools, but let me quickly show you something. For instance, why the edit mode is so powerful. Now, if you look on the left of your screen, you see something called the toolbar. This is an extended version. As you can see, is way different and way has way less options in your object mode, and in your edit mode it has more options. Now, if you want to switch modes, you can press tab to switch into the edit mode, and press tab again to switch out of the edit mode. So as you can see, we have so many different options and tools basically we can use to edit this geometry. We'll get into all of this a little bit later, but if you come into the move tool, just hover over this cross. So as you can see, we can edit this vertex, and if you hover over this green arrow and move it to the right, you will see that yes, we just manipulated this vertex. Now that's how powerful the edit mode is. You can edit finer details in the edit mode. You can move, you can deform your object into making whatever you want to. You can make a car, you can make a city, you can make rather a building, you can make anything. So if I come to my edge select, you can see that we can select an entire edge and we can manipulate it, as opposed to just manipulating one vertex, right? So you can see we're making an interesting shape here. Let's say I push this a little bit in. You see we're making an interesting shape here, and if I hit 3, or if I come back here and hit the last option, which is my face select, you can see that we can move an entire face. Now I don't want to really get into the because this is now this foreshadowing modeling. For instance, we just modeled this can be an air conditioner or anything basically, right? We just modeled this is what you call modeling, but I don't want to get into that because there's a dedicated lesson later on modeling, and we'll go over all these settings. So we won't go over all these settings now. We'll just go over majorly what the different modes provide, or what the different modes entail. So that is your edit mode. I'm just pressing Ctrl Z to undo everything I have done. We're back to our cube. So yeah, basically just know this: your object mode edits an entire object, as opposed to your edit mode that you can finely edit different parts of it. Now your sculpt mode, I just mentioned, your sculpt mode is for sculpting. You can see we have different brushes. This, I don't want to get into this now as well. Basically you can deform your object. If I quickly go over draw, you can deform and add to your object, but if I go over draw and I draw, okay, I don't have enough subdivisions, but let me see if I go to let's say maybe grab. You can see that if I just pull this, I am pulling my object, I am deforming my object. So these are different tools you can use to edit your geometry in sculpt mode. Vertex paint, basically you paint your vertex. We don't need to get into that now, get into that some other time. Weight paint is mostly for characters, or just no characters, just anything with a rig. For instance, you just affect the influence of the rig. Texture paint is for texturing. So in this mode we can paint directly on our cube, but our cube does not have a texture yet, so it's not going to reflect if we do that. But just so you know, we'll not really be using any of these tools anytime soon. The major tools you need to just familiarize yourself with is the edit mode. And remember, your edit mode has 3 selection modes. It has the vertex select mode, the edge select mode, and then the face select mode. So those are the major things you should concern yourself about. So we've come to the end of this video, or lesson rather. Hope you've enjoyed yourself. For a take home, why don't you open up Blender, go through the different modes, specifically edit mode, and yeah, mess with the edge select, the face select, and the vertex select. In the next lesson, we'll be moving on to the next part of this course, which is basic object creation and transformation. See you in class.